experience. Sharon and I went to, Friday night, we went to a dinner for, oh gosh, I can't remember her name. She was one of the only conservatives that won in Wake County for, and that's really strange. I can't remember her name.
Behringer?
Huh?
Not Behringer.
No. She's there with her husband. Her husband is a 10-year veteran of the military. He was in Iraq, and she's in the school. She's connected to the school board. But she waited all this time before she had a dinner to thank all the people that helped and supported her. Sharon and I, Sharon got me to go out. I went door to door passing out flyers for her. She's a very wonderful person, and she loves Sharon very much, and she's, very down-to-earth, good person. And anyway, we were at the dinner, and the room was full. This was at the Devil's Ridge Golf Course in Fuquay-Varina, and also people like Donnie Harrison were there, the former sheriff, and Mark Cavallero, who, remember, he came for Parents' Day. He also was there, and a lot of people. And I sat at a table, and this one gentleman was sharing, his family was sitting across from us, and I was sharing about being in Cary, and they graduated from Fuquay-Varina High School, 2 years after I did, blah, blah. And finally, the guy turns to me and says, well, and what do you do? What do you do? And so I moved right up next to him, and I said, well, you know what? And I just started telling him about how I joined, I had a near-death experience, and I joined the Unification Church, and Reverend Moon matched my wife and I in 1970, and I explained to him, why I'm here, that, we're people that really believe that God is really working in this day and age in a very direct way, and I just laid it out there. And then after, of course, it kind of goes in one, I just tell it like it is and see what happens. But as the conversation went, we started talking about America, and he said, what I think is going to happen is President Trump is going to run to become the president, and he's going to lose. And, we're going to go into 4 years of a very difficult time in America. And I said, really? I said, I don't know. I think maybe it'll turn out different. He said, no, he said, it's really, it's over for conservative-minded people, and I was a little surprised. I was kind of surprised because, we're in the middle of this room where people are supposedly, positive, and I found myself kind of in an opposite position. I'm the one that usually feels, kind of discouraged and feeling like, hey, but somehow that very night, that if you follow politics at all, that this Kevin McCarthy, and every time the name Kevin McCarthy comes up, after our Kevin McCarthy passed away, I remember a week or two later, I get these emails. It says, this is Kevin McCarthy. I want to talk to you, John. I said, oh, really? Because it's the same name, Kevin McCarthy. So now this guy, and I actually was looking at his face recently, and I actually saw, his stature and his the shape and the way he wears his hair is almost exactly the same as our Kevin McCarthy used to wear his hair, And I'm very close with Kevin because, Kevin was here when I joined the church. Kevin McCarthy and Laura Taylor. So anyway, that night, the next day, Kevin McCarthy got this, 216 votes to 212, and he became the Speaker of the House. And without making it political, I felt somehow something in America has kind of moved in a good direction. It's not because they're Republicans or conservative, but it's something about the truth. People are ready to be open to the truth. You know, people need to know that God is with us and we're going to be loved and we are loved and we can love each other and support each other. And part of the reason I guess I feel that is because, you know, Sharon and I spend a lot of time at the senior center now, you know, because we go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and we exercise. And it's a room full of 60 or 70 people that are all, you know, I'm probably one of the younger people there, you know. Some of these people are even in their 80s, you know, they're exercising, you know. And then afterwards we all have our cup of coffee. They got a beautiful coffee. And we stand around the table and we do puzzles. You know, now I'm getting really into these 1,000 and 2,000 piece puzzles. And, you know, we have such nice conversations and people really, people are so friendly and nice. And that's the way it is. You know, if you go to any community in America, except in the big cities, you know, I don't know what the problem is in some of these big cities. I don't want to get into that, but if you go to any rural community in America, almost everybody loves and supports each other. They care about each other. It's completely normal and natural. You know, and I imagine, and of course Sharon and I lived in Russia for 5 years, 6 years, and it was the same thing, even more so. You know, we were never, our daughters were little kids, you know, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. They could go out on the street and they could play. They walked to school, you know, with other kids and grown-ups by themselves. And it was never any danger. Never any, you know, it was the opposite. It was like people loved and took care of each other. And that is the reality. And so I guess if I was going to say something about, the word hope, but it's not hope. Hope is kind of like, hope is when you're still attached to the past. You know, I have to have hope because I'm still being dragged back this way. So I need hope to get forward. But I think we have to be beyond hope. You know, we need to be already there. And we need to now be able to kind of turn around and bring the rest of the people with us. You know, we have to be clear about, you know, how blessed we are and how wonderful it is, and the Victorious Foundation. So I was very inspired. You know, True Mother's speech was very short and very clear and very simple and very direct. You know, go out, you know, and you know, absorb whatever energy and be warm and bring people and fulfill your role as true families, and that's it. So I felt in the last, you know, since the beginning of the year, in the last 3 or 4 days, you know, maybe it's just my imagination. I'm not a spiritual person, but I felt something like a burden has sort of been lifted a little bit from America, and that, you know, now people are ready to sort of kind of come back to their senses. You know, people will come back to their senses now and, you know, settle down and not be so influenced by the strange and the bizarre. I don't know how to put it other than that, but I feel a certain goodness about the direction that we're going. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And when you